Hi folks, Didi here. Welcome back. So normally this is the part of the video where I will preview, I'm giving my take on, insert this deck here, insert this pack here. This video isn't the case, and allow me to explain why. As the time of this video, this past weekend, I took part of a special local tournament that was held at Eternity Games here in Michigan. I think it was like 5 rounds. I won one because I had to buy. But even though I lost, the rest of my games and stuff, it made me have an epiphany that I have to get caught up with the game that it is now, which is mostly synchros and XZs. So, this is the preference say that this particular deck I assembled personally, and it didn't fare so well. I basically got chewed by either Yummy, Free Smith, K9, and I believe a combination of Mitsurugi, somewhere along those lines. So with that being said, this is my deck list, which I titled Blue Eyes Egyptian God, because it had all three Blue Eyes and all three Egyptian gods in my deck. So with that being said, let's get to my deck. All right, guys. So like I mentioned offset, this is the deck I assembled for the Eternal Games Wii tournament that I took part of this past weekend. This has been a day after I took part of it as I'm recording this. So this is just my personal deck that I assembled, and it didn't fare so well against K9 and everybody else. So that being said, let's go with we're going to start with the monster cards in the main deck. So we have our Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, Sage with Eyes of Blue, Effect Veiler, another Effect Veiler, Dictator of D, Mirage Dragon, Keeper of Dragon Magic, the White Stone of Legend, Maiden of White, another Sage with Eyes of Blue, the White Stone of Ancient, Obelisk the Tormentor, Skyfer the Sky Dragon, 1, 2, and 3 Royal Disciples, which, if you're not familiar with Royal Disciples, you special summon, you regular summon 1 Royal Disciples, and its effect, you get the special summon the other 2 from your deck, and once you have all 3 on the field, you contribute them to summon Raw, Slifer, or Obelisk. And speaking of Raw, as I'm saying that, we have the Winged Dragon of Raw, Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, another White Stone of Ancients, another Maiden of White, Blue Eyes Abyss, Burning Dragon. If you haven't seen this card before, if your opponent summons has 2 monsters on their field, you could special summon this card, and you can also discard, if I'm mistaken, discard the spell card, and you can destroy all magic and traps on the field on your side and your opponent's side. Blue Eyes Return of White Dragon, Kaiser Seahorse, which I did put this in there because I wanted to get Blue Eyes on the field as soon as possible, because the special effect, it acts as 2 sacrifices for light attribute monsters, hence Blue Eyes White Dragon is a light attribute monster. Necro Gardener, Assault Verdant. Again, the reason I have this card in my deck, if I have a Blue Eyes in my hand and this card's attack, I can special summon 1 Dragon type monster from my hand or my graveyard. So this card definitely comes in handy. Module of the 10,000 Hands. Okay, so with this one, I could use this to get Chaos Form or Blue Eyes Chaos Max because of its special ability. They're added to my hand. And now we got all 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons as you see here. Alright, as we move on, we're going to talk about the magic cards that I had in the deck. So we have Wishes for Eyes of Blue, Harpy Feather Duster, Polymerization, Monster Reborn, Swords of Revealing Light, The Melody of Awakening Dragon, Dragon Shrine, Ultimate Fusion, Burst Stream of Destruction, Dragon's Mirror, Chaos Form, Supply Squad, Ancient Rules, Advanced Ritual Art, Soul Crossing. This is mostly an Obelisk support card because this deck was an Obelisk Blue Eyes deck, but I had a Slifer and Raw in there because, again, I could probably use Walls Disciple. Return of the Dragon Lords, Twin Twisters, Different Dimension Capsule, which I mostly use this to try to get a god out and banish it. And then once I have Raw's Disciple, I could, on the next turn, or my next standby phase, get a god, Raw's Disciple, triggers Disciple's effect to summon the other 2, then trigger their effect to summon the god. Snatch Steel, War of the Blue-Eyed Dragons, and Fist of Fate. Alright, so as we move on to the traps, we have Drowning Mirror Force, Ring of Destruction, Ordeal of a Traveler, Call of the Haunted, Head Judging, Mirror Force, True Light, and Level Resistant Wall, which came in handy the other day. Well, while I was during the tournament, at the day before, at the time of I'm recording this card actually came in handy because I was able to get another. I lost one, if I'm mistaken, White Stone of Legend. Activated my trap, and I got Maiden with Eyes of Blue out so that I could skip Blue Eyes out because this effect is if Maiden is targeted, I special summon the Blue Eyes. And as we move along here, we're going to talk about the extra deck. So I had Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Spirit with Eyes of Blue, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, which you could use alternative Blue Eyes Alternative with 2 other normal Blue Eyes, and this is what the end result will be. Blue Eyes Twin Burst, Kibelt the Blade Dragon, Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, Indigo Eyes Silver Dragon, and Blue Eyes Tyrant. And the cards that I had in my side deck is only 2. It was Infinite Impermanence and Destined Rivals. Those were the only 2 cards that I had in my side deck. Alrighty, so yep, that was my deck that I used at the Eternal Games. If I'm not mistaken, the Chesterfield location for their it was a tournament for a Switch Wii Switch. It was a Nintendo Switch, I believe. Which shout outs to them. They ran an awesome tournament. I know there was one guy that offered his assistant to help me out with this, but I got to be careful with with people and stuff because again, be a part of the Rainbow Army. If you can read code, I got to be careful because you don't know who or when somebody may come for you and stuff, which yeah, that's always on the back of my mind no matter what I'm doing. Ooh, excuse me. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And until we meet again, stay gold.